Hello folks, today I'm going to be taking a look at a pair of expansions for Triton Noir's game of World War II stealth infiltration, V-Sabotage. I'm going to be taking a look at the new miniatures pack and also the latest expansion, Ghost. Okay, so the V-Sabotage miniature pack is a bit of a hefty box and a little bit of a misnomer as well, because it's not just miniatures. So if I flip it over, you will see that, yes, you can upgrade your cardboard chits with a range of plastic figures. There's also some doors to replace the flat door tokens, so upright doors, so you can see them more easily. But you also get some additional tiles, which is handy just for changing up your maps and for making your own missions, which is always good fun. So let's crack this open and show you exactly what's in here. Okay, so we have two trays of miniatures, which we'll look at in a moment, but we're going to start with the cardboard and paper parts. Once again, the game is bilingual, so you've got French and English rules. Rules are fairly brief. They're really just explaining the contents of the box and also how to use things like the new dashboard to replace the tokens that you would have had in the core set. So swapping out these for these new simplified ones to match the miniatures. Also doors, fairly simple. Stick them on a stand, flip them over. So there we go. A short set of rules, or I suppose box contents is more applicable. We have a mixture of tokens and we have the maps as well. So let's just set the map tiles to one side. Check out the tokens first. We have these 1.5, one sheet and a small sheet. So these are very minimalist silhouette, nice satin finish on 2mm cardstock, all well centered and satisfyingly die punched. So they become your new enemy tokens. You can see here we have a set of 3 just above the doors, and then we also have some of the little alert markers. So nice quality. They're combined with this sort of player aid dashboard. So when you're setting up, you'll know how many of each are supposed to go into the bag for drawing out the enemy. So you're still using the chits to draw them out, and you just pop the miniature on top of these. So when you draw out a standard guard or a guard with a sledgehammer or one with an MP40, you would then take the miniature off, deploy it, and put the chit back here. And when the miniature dies, if he goes back into your reserves, then you just take the chit back into the bag. So it's just, it means you're not having to sit with everything sitting out. You can have a smaller footprint on your table and keep it a bit neater and have a rough idea of exactly who's going where and what they're doing. There's a little dashboard. Then we have our map tiles. So we have 3 of these larger tiles. All 3 are unique. Are they? No, you're a double. So we'll start off with an internal. Each contains a large, medium, and 3 small. So a nice set of tiles, nice set of cobblestone streets. Then we have our roadway, our cliffs, secluded cove for your commandos to possibly come on land from. The other side of this, have a Panzer IV and some nice sunlight coming in through the stained glass. It's just delightful. Well, this is slightly different. There we go. A couple of MG set up on the external forest. So that's the larger map tiles. Then we have a set of smaller, so a single looks to be bunker, or at the very least a tower. And on this side we have a Atlantic Wall style defense battery with plenty of ammo. And then we have more Atlantic defenses, so anti-aircraft, some internal buildings. Beautiful quality on the prints once again. Another silo-like bunker. And again, internals. And the last, similar bunker or silo. But then we have some destroyed roads, and on this side some more internal structures. So there we have it, all the card stock. Now, the miniatures. We have 2 trays. So one tray contains all of your enemies, and one tray contains both your heroes and some of the little additional pieces like the MGs and your bases and tokens. So we'll take a closer look at those. Okay, we're going to start with our heroes. So you get 5 miniatures, one for each of the heroes in the core set. They are 1-piece plastic on roughly 25mm round bases, and they are about 36mm to eye level, just under 40mm tall. So big, heroic board game pieces. However, they are beautifully detailed. Not all of them are 1-piece. I think I see a couple that are pre-assembled but multi-part to obviously allow them to be produced. So here we have our sapper with a hat full of dynamite and all the hand grenades around him. So the heroes are in this sort of tan or khaki colour. We have a Russian sniper. Very delicate sculpt. Beautifully realised. Sort of I suppose stoic Russian pose. Very, very delicate gun there, and just bound up with strips of cloth to mask the shape and remove refraction or reflections and the light coming off the metal. But yeah, very finely featured. We have our officer smoking a cigarette, eye patch, suppressed sten. Casting quality is excellent. Very minimal mold lines. A slight sort of sprue gate that might need to just be trimmed back if that worries you. But they should paint up a dream if you fancy painting them. And if not, they will do the job as is. Our second British, so our commando. Here you can see that arm was definitely separate, but joined at the seam, so hides it very well. Again, coming forward, gun and knife, and grappling hook with rope on the back. And then we have our medic. Bit of cleanup required there, though 2 seconds with a sharp knife will remove that. So 5 heroes, they look great, I like them. You may be wondering, how do you do seen and unseen? Good question. You have a set of these red markers, which are rubber, not hard plastic, which is good because I find the hard plastic ones are a pain to get on and off. So when they're spotted, you mark them as spotted, and when they get into a room and go stealth again, you can just pop that off. They are not the only hero models though, because as well as the 5 of them in their standard uniform, there are also 5 more in the same allied tan colour. So we have a German officer. So when you disguise yourself as a German, you can replace them with these. We have somebody assaulting forward. I'm going to guess probably the commando or the scout. Got a mask on, dressed like a Fallschirmjäger, with one of their stripped down squad support machine guns. Big pants. We have German with a gas mask on. Again, really nice sculpt. And then we have 2 that are actually standard enemy sculpts but recolored. So these 3 are unique to the heroes. But we have this kneeling shooting with a Sturmgewehr and forage cap, and then machine gun and sledgehammer. So really nice set of sculpts for the heroes. And then we have our Germans. So there are 2 of this. Rifleman with sledgehammer. Full kit on the back. There are 3 of the disguised hero pose sledgehammer. Handy for breaking in doors when people have blocked them on you. There are 10 Germans with assault rifles. And then 16 riflemen and 16 with the machine gun. So, looks like an MP40. Again, very accurate uniforms and really nice sculpts for one piece. I appreciate the fact they've gone a bit bigger than standard sort of tabletop gaming, so that they can get these nice sculpts. The last couple of pieces, you have the MG42 with the AA mount remote on it. So tripod, away you go. And then the sandbag as well. And then we also have 2 of these little, so there are 3 of those, sorry. And there are also 2 alarms. So somebody can get up there and crank the alarm going whenever you are discovered. It's not the only thing that were in those boxes. There are also the bases for the doors and a new set of the large hero cards. So I think these just have the updated layout and artwork on them. If you'd already bought the original edition of V-Commando, that's the new artwork and slight changes to the characters. And then there are 2 cloth bags. So when you're playing, you need to have one for equipment that's dropped and looted and one for the enemies. So these are both quite large cloth bags. Nice design on them, nice print, drawstring, so you can keep your tokens safe between games and not have to run about looking for something to store them in game. So I quite like those. They're a nice little touch that they didn't have to include, but I'm glad they did. Alright, so the rulebook for Ghost for V-Sabotage, relatively small compared to the main book. We have your box contents, so the various types of tokens that have been added, 6 new commando cards, 16 double-sided commando sheets, we'll get to them, 4 new pairs of operation cards, and some level cards as well. Meat and potatoes of this, 3 game modes. So first is to play XP mode, which allows you to level up as you play. It's entirely up to you whether you include that or not. It will make some operations and levels much easier, but it's fascinating. You acquire an XP card every time you complete an objective. In some cases, multiple things may be needed to be done to complete that objective, so you'll know then. But then there's 2 different types of XP card. We'll look at those in a little moment. But you also then have a danger token that gets introduced to the reinforcement bag, which can do terrible things to you. So it's very risk reward. Yes, you get extra stuff that will help you, but the danger tokens will stack up in there. Lone Wolf mode. Lone Wolf, if you're experienced at playing the game, allows you to play. It's not a specific solo mode, because you can already play the game solo if you want. However, what you do is you only play with 1 commando, and you get bonuses for only playing with 1 commando. So you can go in and you will have to take a specific XP card, but then you also have choices for some of the other XP cards. So you can see here, if the number of commandos you should be using for a specific operation or level is 1, you don't get any bonuses because you would only have 1 commando anyway. However, if you should be using 6 commandos, you get 10 extra luck tokens into the bag, which we'll look at later. You also get additional XP cards that you begin with, and you get equipment as well. So it changes massively how those operations and levels that you've already played through will play out, just by changing from a full squad or set of commandos down to just 1 person. Can you still do the mission when it's you on your own? Say there are luck tokens. When you draw those from the enemy bag, they all have different effects. So you can do things like gain additional actions for the turn, or actually just some enemies wander off. They've been called away, so you can choose enemies that are lurking about on your level and just remove them. So lots of things to help you in your Lone Wolf. And then there's also the campaign mode. So currently you can play a single level, or multiple levels will be combined into an operation. Well, now with the campaign, you can combine multiple operations into a complete campaign, leading you from step to step. It explains how you go about setting up a linked campaign scenario. And then we have here Operation One-Eyed Ghost. So you get a complete breakdown of Leo Major, who only passed away in 2008. I had heard of him before for 2 reasons. One, he captured about 100 Germans by himself. And secondly, he turned down a medal because he was going to be decorated by Montgomery, and he did not like Montgomery. So, interesting fellow. So this gives you a chance to replicate the One-Eyed Ghost. And then here it explains how you can do sort of levels and operations and level up. And as you level up, you can gain rewards in the form of various decorations from the various countries. They do say if you don't want to run the book, you can actually print out the page off the website, so you can replay it multiple times without having to go back in and scribble over. As you can see, there are specific changes here if you're going to be playing with the resistance or secret weapon expansions as well. It tells you how to do those. And then at the end we have a little player aid for the new types of tokens. So that's the book. Let's have a look at some of the maps. So 2 sets of map tiles. We have 1 large, medium and 3 small. As you can see here, internal. Nice print on them, nice colour. Here we have a bit of a exploded Panzer IV and some external grass tiles. Again, 2mm cardstock, really nice quality of print on them. So that's our large mat. And we also have a set of smaller tiles. Well, small and medium. Again, internal and external. All that very vibrant, punchy art style, which I really like. I think that's a pair of skis and ski poles that have been put away for the summer, which is nice. Do the Erdanger Plateau. Hide out while looking to hit the heavy water plant. Then we have our tokens. So these are new luck and danger. As you can see, a mix of each. And on the reverse, 4-leaf clover and skull and crossbones. And some flea tokens at the bottom. And then we have 2 sets of chits for your actual heroes and enemies. Put them the right way up. So here we have our new commandos, including a little terrier. And then your SS. Again, as always, double-sided with the other status effects on the reverse. Okay, so moving on to the cards. The first thing we have are these large dashboard type cards. So if you're playing a Lone Wolf or an XP game, you can put your commando card here and then your XP as you level up. So each of these cards is full color. These first 4 are single-sided, and then the additional 12 are double-sided. So there's our scout from the core box. And there he is again. So I think this is the original artwork and then the new upgraded artwork, so which is a nice touch. You can see how they used to look and how they do today. Like I say, there's 1 for every hero from the core box, and then also the expansions. So if you've picked up Resistance, you see a German officer. I really like the new version. He just reminds me of Clint from Where Eagles Dare, which is possibly one of the greatest war films of all time. Not the most accurate, but one of the greatest. And then we have some of our secret weapon characters as well. So you've got your dashboard. You also have the new heroes to go on them. So Annika, Death Cheater, the VF Intel Officer, Sergeant Bruno, Jamie Flintlock, and the most important of all, Gander, the little terrier. They're all double-sided, as you would expect. and additional rules on there. This is a little Kickstarter exclusive one, which is quite cute. And I imagine most people would be looking to field gander as often as humanly possible. Alongside that, we have our new operation cards. So Celsius, Freya, Helmet, and Starter. Each pair is the mission and then the actual objectives. So they can be used by themselves or combined to make your own levels and objectives. And then here we have Cable Car. There's the One-Eyed Ghost special. Hedgerow, Hell and Suburbs as 3 new setups. Again, I think One-Eyed Ghost is an absolutely stonking little objective to play through. Operation. Playing him solo, that'll be so much fun. We have a new set of event cards to be added in. So you get things like Eagle's Dare. During this turn, you can reroll 1s, which is nice. Deadly Spray. Every time a commando shoots using a weapon that has 3 dice or more, you can use the red die. And the red dice is new for this expansion. Which may as well show you that while we're here. So the interesting thing about the red dice is you normally get discovered on a 1 or a 2 in V-Sabotage. However, there is no 1 on this dice. Instead, you've got a second 6, which means you only get spotted on a 2. And it also means it's a very powerful dice when attacking. So anything that allows you to change a regular dice for a red dice, always take it. The only downside of that is it also applies to your opponents. And lastly, we have the XP. So every time you complete an objective, you can choose either to take a blue or to take one of these sort of tan file folder looking things. The difference is the blues are nearly always on, whereas the tan are once per level. So 1 use per level. After one of your shots, do not roll the dice. Instead, eliminate up to 6 enemies on the target tile. I mean, that's insanely good. But if you're playing solo, in the lone wolf mode, just 1 commando, you may need something like that. Whereas we can see here with Easy Prey, every time you shoot, you can replace 1 die with a red die. So that includes throwing grenades, although that will set off all the alarms. So you get a good amount of those. You never know what's going to be coming up and what one you're going to choose, because obviously there's a lot of good to be had in these sort of orange-brown once per level ones, but the fact it is once per level only is a big issue. These you can see are tagged off as Lone Wolf mode only, and I think when you're playing Lone Wolf you have to start with Army of 2 in there. There we have it. That's the contents of the box. So there we have it. The Ghost expansion offers up a whole host of new operations to play in that campaign mode, the Lone Wolf mode as well. Particularly interesting for solo players who may want a little bit more meat on the bones of the game. It's already very solid, but I think adding an extra level of difficulty by tying yourself down to 1 commando per level is a great way of doing it. Makes things very interesting and offers a whole host of additional content. And speaking of additional content, I was very happy with the top-down map and sort of overhead look of the tokens that V-Sabotage uses. But now the miniature set in there, really, really nice miniatures. Gives that sort of dungeon crawler feel, having the miniatures and the doors and the like marked on. So it's a nice expansion if you are big into your miniatures. If you just fancy playing with the cardboard chits, that's fine. The game works beautifully without going into the miniatures thing, but you know, if you like having a big ton of plastic on your tabletop and getting the option to paint up some of those miniatures as well, then it's definitely a way to go. But let me know what you think below. There are more expansions from Triton Noir for V-Sabotage out there, so hopefully I'll get a chance to take a look at some of those in the future. But until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.